Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to Manflow Yoga. In this workout, I'm going to guide you through a workout focused on countering sitting positions. So this is something to do after you have been inactive for a week, and we're going to do that by activating the muscles that were dormant. So we're going to do a lot of the exact opposite of what you were doing while you're sitting. And instead of stretching, we're going to be strengthening the muscles. So this is going to be more of an active, less passive workout. So grab a block just in case you just in case we use it. I think we're going to use it for this workout, and let's get started. Let's start off in a tabletop, and I want to start by doing some cat-cow just to get your spine moving again. So squeeze your knees toward one another, and if you have a block, it actually helps to put a block between your legs and just squeeze that block tightly. Untuck your toes, feet flat on the ground, plant your hands, inhale to arch. Exhale to round. So we're squeezing the block between the thighs to get the core and the inner thighs active. Exhaling to round. So pressing my back toward the ceiling, bringing the head toward the hips. Inhaling to arch, pulling the chest forward, arching your back, lengthening your upper back, pulling your head away from your shoulders, and exhaling to round. Upper back pressing toward the ceiling, back stretching, upper shoulder stretching. Two more of these, inhaling to arch. Exhaling to round. And this is just a really nice exercise to loosen up your spine. It's something that's done by every athlete in every discipline. So whether you're a basketball player or a professional gymnast, you should be using cat-cow to help warm up your spine. All right, then we're gonna do some bird dog. So I'm going to have you bring your block away. Keep your hands where they are, under the shoulder. Squeeze your knees toward one another. Bring your left arm straight out. And without moving your hips, bring your right leg straight back and hold here for about 30 seconds. We're lengthening the hamstring here, so we're engaging the hamstring. We're pushing the heel back, so we're getting that leg active. And you're reaching your left arm forward and up to start working on the shoulder. Now, turn your palm to face up. That's going to help with your external rotators in your shoulder, so we're also getting your shoulders active. Squeeze your hand, your planted right hand toward your left knee, and again, keep those hips level. A couple more breaths here. See if you can make your body a little bit longer. Press the right heel back, reach your left arm forward, and again, turn that palm up. One more breath. And then release, switch sides. Notice if you had to hike your hip back down after you set the knee down. So again, you want to keep the hips the exact same position as they were before you lift the leg. Let's try again, other side. Right arm comes out. Bring your left leg back. Again, don't change your right leg. Don't change that hip. Keep the hips level. Pushing down to the ball mounds of your left hand so that index finger and thumb are pressing down firmly. Right arm is coming out. The palm turns to face up. Left heel presses back, feeling the left hamstring engage. Belly button, core engaging, and then right knee squeezing toward the left hand, pulling your chest forward and looking in front of you. So you want to make sure that you're not looking forward, you're not arching your neck, but you are looking slightly in front of you or straight down. Just keep that neck relaxed. Make sure you're not straining the neck. A couple more breaths here. See if you can make your body a little bit longer and really try to turn that right palm to face up so you're opening up the shoulder a little bit. Core should feel just like you're doing a plank here. And one more breath. All right, and release. All right, let's go into a lunge. This is the best thing that you can do to counter a seated position. So right leg is going to come up, knee over the ankle. Push your hips forward. You're going to work deep into the front of your left hip here. And I'm going to have you tuck your back toes and just hover your left knee just for a little bit. Push your right hip toward the ground, so right glute really is going to fire here. And then sink your left knee back down to the ground. Push your hips forward. Keep your torso stacked on top of your hips. You've got a straight line from your spine up through your neck. And then squeeze your left hip in toward the middle. You're going to feel a nice stretch through the front of the left hip. And you can keep pushing that hip forward, both hips forward, to work deeper into the hip. You want to make sure the knee stays above the ankle and the front foot, and your chest stays lifting up. Go ahead and bring your arms up. Let's start to open up your chest a little bit as well. And like I said at the beginning of this workout, we're working on engaging opposing muscle groups. So we're not just stretching, we're also strengthening. So as you're doing this, make sure you're pushing down firmly into your right heel, and that's going to help you engage your right hip and the right glute. A couple more breaths here. Again, just kind of sinking those hips forward, working deeper into the left hip, still keeping that right hip engaged. One more breath. And then take this into a high lunge. So back toes tuck, press down through your right heel, and start to straighten the left leg. Now, you might have your back foot too far back. You might need to bring that leg up a little bit if you feel like your back is starting to arch when you do this. Otherwise, keep that same depth if you can. Make sure you can squeeze your legs toward one another. If you can't squeeze your legs toward one another, your stance is too far apart. So bring your feet a little bit closer together. Arms are coming up. And again, turn the palms to face back, so we've got that opening through the shoulders. And we're gonna do a few breaths here as well. Again, I'm sinking my hips forward, using my exhale, and still really squeezing the right hip. So keeping that hip active, keeping the glute engaged. And again, this is countering that seated position. So if I was inactive this weekend or I had a couple of days off, I'm getting my hips into the exact opposite position that they were in before. If you spend a lot of your time sitting, this is going to counter that. We're gonna do one more lunge variation here. So interlace your fingers, point your index fingers. I'm gonna have you lean up and over toward the right. So kind of a high lunge combined with a standing side stretch. So fingers are interlaced, biceps are wrapping toward the back. If you can, straighten your arms, press your fingers up, and then lean further toward the right. So getting a big stretch all through the left side of your body, and still pushing down firmly through your right heel, keeping that hip active, keeping height. Not just going for depth, but keeping height in your spine. 2 more breaths here, opening up a little bit deeper. If you're having trouble here, you can bring the knee down, but if not, keep working on this. 1 more breath. And then bring it back to the middle. Go ahead and release your left knee to the ground. And then switch sides. So we're going the exact opposite. Now the left foot is forward, the right leg is back. Let's give it a couple breaths to sink into this lunge. We're going to work on getting this hip open to start. So big breath in. Exhale, sink forward. So starting to open up the inner right thigh. You should feel a stretch through the front of the right hip. Make sure the hips stay below your torso. So we're using our breath to work deeper into this. As we inhale, we're getting a little bit of height. And as we exhale, the hips sink forward and the chest follows. Make sure that you're not just bringing your chest forward or you're not just bringing your hips forward. You want to keep that straight line. You want to keep a neutral spine from your belly button, actually from the base of your spine, all the way up through your sternum. And keep that weight through the left leg. So what really helps here is kind of tucking that back leg, just lifting the knee up just for a little bit, pushing down hard through the left foot, feeling your left glute engage, and then setting it back down, keeping that same engagement through the hip. Go ahead and bring your arms up. Take a couple more breaths here. Use the exhale, sink into it a little bit more. And try squeezing your legs toward one another as well. You're also going to squeeze that right hip in toward the middle. So I'm squeezing my right knee and the ankle and the hip. All of that squeezing in toward the middle. And that's going to help me get a deeper stretch. It's also going to help me get better muscle engagement through the inner thigh. It's going to help strengthen my knees. That's going to help me strengthen my core as well. 1 more breath here, and then we're going to move on to that high lunge. All right, tuck your back toes, keep your hips squared, keep the spine neutral, lift the back knee, squeeze the thigh. Now, if this is hurting, if you feel like you're arching your back, you can soften that knee a little bit, or you can step your right foot up a little bit. You do want to work toward being able to have your legs straight here. So you can play around with keeping the knee bent a little bit, or you can bring that foot up a little bit closer and then straighten the leg. I'll leave the decision up to you. But we do want to work toward being able to keep the leg straight and still having good lunge form. So the knee over the ankle and the front foot, weight in the heel, so my toes can kind of lift up and, I can extend my toes here. But I'm not putting the weight in the toes in the front of my foot. It's in the heel. That's going to help me engage the posterior chain, so I'm getting my glutes involved. I'm not just letting that weight sink into my knee. And then the arms are up. I'm still using that breath to sink deeper. Squeeze your legs toward one another. Again, if you cannot squeeze your legs toward one another, if you don't have that muscle control, I would recommend bringing your feet closer together, or as you practice, you will be able to gain that control. So it just takes time. Just like everything we're doing here, it just takes time and consistent effort. So consistently doing the workouts on a regular basis, and then also doing your best that you can at that particular time. Go ahead and bring the arms up, and we're going to that side stretch variation. So leaning up and over toward the left, deepening that stretch through the right hip, using the breath to open up. So as I inhale, I get taller. As I exhale, I lean further. Getting about 3 nice deep breaths here. Still keeping that left hip pushing to the ground, keeping my hips squared. This gets a little bit more difficult in this side stretch. So really focus on pushing the left hip toward the ground and almost squeezing your right hip up a little bit higher. 2 breaths here. Going a little bit deeper every exhale. 1 more breath. All right, come back. Slowly release your right knee to the ground. Good. All right, so legs are nice and tired. Let's go ahead and stand up. And we'll do a couple of, a little bit of movement here. So toes touch, get a block. I'm gonna have you do a couple half sun salutations. So arms along your sides, deep breath in and lift. Look up, exhale and fold. Arms come out wide, hinge at the hips. Tighten your thighs toward one another, bring your hands to the block. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Keep length through the front side of your body. And then if you're ready, maybe bringing the fingertips to the ground, feeling that stretch through the hamstrings, feeling your thighs engage, so tightening the quadriceps, and again, squeezing the legs toward one another. Half lift, pull your body forward, hands pull up your shins, chest pulls forward, lengthening my body, pushing the top of my head away from my hips, trying to make an L shape with my body, and then folding back down. Again, focusing on the hamstring stretch here. You'll feel a release in your lower back, but we want to focus on the hamstring stretch here, so make sure you're feeling that stretching through the backs of the thighs. All right, press your hips toward the ground, press your heels into the ground, and then stand up all the way. Bring your arms up high, lift up, and hands back to center. All right, 1 more of those. So, lifting up on the inhale, exhaling and forward fold. Arms come out wide, hands come to the ground. Squeeze my legs toward one another, tighten my quadriceps, keeping length through the front side of my body. So I want to imagine if there was this hose or a tube in the middle of my body going between my back and my stomach, and I don't want to pinch off this tube. So I'm keeping that length through my body, so I'm keeping space through the middle of my body, and that's going to help me get a better stretch through my hamstrings and protect my spine. Half lift, pull your body forward, squeezing the thighs toward one another, tightening your quadriceps again, maybe using that block to help you pull forward a little bit more, and then folding down, using your core strength to fold, and then sitting down, bringing your arms out wide, lifting back up on an inhale, and hands back to center. All right, bring your arms back up, interlace the fingers. We're gonna go into a back bend. Press your fingers straight up, reach back, lift your chest up, look up at the ceiling, breathe in and out of the nose. We're gonna hold this for about a minute, so a nice long back bend. Now grab your head, I know it sounds weird, but grab your head and pull your head away from your shoulders. Make your neck really nice and long. There's no wrinkles in the back of your neck. And then squeeze your arms up and back. Pretend like you're setting your upper back down on a shelf. So you're keeping a nice long arch through your spine, keeping the spine long, keeping your chest open, and using your breath here. So I'm inhaling to get taller, and I'm exhaling to squeeze back a little bit more. Got about 3 more breaths here. And just slowly progressing into this back bend, keeping my hips squeezing toward one another, keeping my abs engaged, so I'm protecting my spine. One more breath. And then come back to neutral, take it into a chair pose. Thanks for joining me for this workout today. Make sure you subscribe. We put out lots of videos like this on a very regular basis. And to get full access to all of my workouts, my programs, tutorials, and more, head to manfulyoga.com, sign up for a 7-day trial. It's just $1. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video.